Hello, my lovelies. I'm Ginny O, the author with no last name, and I actually wasn't going to make this video. In my last video about SSO, I made a statement that Star Stable Online has been having a problem with knowing the difference between challenging and frustrating. And the morning I got up that day that video was to be posted, in my Discord, people were talking about how Star Stable had put up an Instagram about how to deal with the wolves and the bears in the game. And to be honest, it's exactly the same advice that is being given on Reddit and other places. It's not very helpful, and it was just, it came off a little condescending, like, oh my god, you just don't know how to get good in the game. So, we are sitting here, and we are overlooking the weird-ass boardwalk in the middle of nowhere, that I still don't know the point of. And this weird-ass boardwalk in the middle of nowhere is actually one of the most frustrating areas of Fir Grove at this moment, because you can't really see them very well, but there's some tiny wolves in the distance. There are 3 of them that patrol, well, this area. See? There are 3 of them. And I'm sure there are probably a couple more sleeping. They walk around in a circular pattern and at different kind of rates of speed. There are so many of them in this area that it is almost impossible to get through on the boardwalk area, especially since the rangers haven't come through and cut that little route right there across the path like they should do, because that's proper forest management, especially if you're doing paths like this. Nobody on a horse or on a dirt bike realistically can get through that path with that dirt, with that route across it, and it's going to be interfering with their boardwalk. But there are so many wolves in that area that it's impossible to keep track of all of them. So, okay, I'm going to go back to the road. I'm going to go back up here. I don't have any lures at the moment, but we're going to head back towards the road, and we'll see if I get good or if I end up accidentally triggering a wolf, because there's at least, okay, there's a horse over there. It's a Friday morning, so that's where so as you can see right here, there's a wolf on patrol. There's 2 wolves. They're going to meet right over there. Behind that rock is a ranger. Let me jump over this route. That shouldn't be there. Okay, so now we're back on the road and in moderate safety zone. So, just because you put obstacles in your game doesn't mean that your game is challenging. It just means there are obstacles in your game. Like these routes. They're not challenging, they're just frustrating because they're everywhere. Fallen logs, rocks in the path. It's just frustrating because, you know, there's just so many of them. The hitboxes are so bad that even if you got good at the game, it doesn't necessarily mean that every single time you hit your spacebar, you're going to go over one of the routes, you know, go over the obstacle. So, I'm going to compare, like in the last video, I'm going to compare this to one of my favorite games, Sly Cooper, and particularly Band of Thieves, Honor Among Thieves, and Thieves in Time. So in Sly Cooper, you play a thief. The point of the game is to steal things. And in the Band of Thieves, they added pickpocketing. Woo! So much fun. So when you are riding around in Band of Thieves, see, there's another wolf over there. And there's a wolf over there. And there's a wolf right there. Sorry, there's a wolf there. Should use my pointer. When you're riding around in Band of Thieves, oh, there's 3 wolves right there. Technically, I'm safe, but I am not sure. Just because the aggro is just that bad. So technically, so in you're playing a raccoon, a turtle, or a hippopotamus. And part of the goal of the game is to sneak around these levels, which are have a lot of verticality to them, have a lot of platforms, you know, things you can bounce off of, things you can hide under, barrels, all sorts of things. There's no way in hell I'd go after that little rock right there. That's just too near too many wolves. So you're sneaking around the game, and when you get close to an enemy, you're on the screen as a character. The way you walk changes depending on the character you are. And with Sly, it's particularly noticeable because he crouches down. Whereas, let's say, Murray, the hippopotamus, he goes up on his tiptoes, which is really kind of funny. And I don't know if there's really too much of a change with Bentley. Bentley is like the hardest character to play, no matter what, because in Band of Thieves, he's a turtle. He's running around, as a turtle. And so he's just very hard to play. And in Honor Among Thieves and in Thieves in Time, he is in a wheelchair. Yay, disability rep. So he is one of the harder characters to play. But there is a visual reference of the character changing the way they walk. Okay? And then you have a sound reference. Okay? Every character has a walking sound. When they get close to people, when you're trying to pickpocket them, or when you're trying to, get behind them so you can juggle them into the air or whatever, the way they walk, the sound changes. And it's like this very cartoonish type of tiptoe sound. Okay? And then there's one more visual reference, okay? So if you're paying attention to your character, you know as a visual reference that you're close to an enemy, particularly behind an enemy, because you're crouched down and you're trying to sneak up on them. And then if you are looking at basically either the top middle of the screen or the top right or the top left, they always change the UI around, so it was, if you look at where you had your health bar, when you got close to an enemy, there would be like this little pulsating glow or light around it, whether it was gold or, or just a brighter color of the thing, or even if it turned red, that was your icon on your UI was telling you that, hey, you are close to a enemy. Be careful. Alright, so I'm not playing with the sounds on, and I understand that the wolves growl when they attack you, but we are here sitting on a horse, and there is no visual way outside of me looking for me to know where the wolves are. Sly Cooper was deliberately designed to be a sneaking game. This is just them going, what can we do the fastest way to make it quote-unquote challenging with the least amount of work? So they put in a bunch of wolves, gave them patterns, selected an aggro range, and that's it. I mean, and we have, you can run away, don't turn, don't turn abruptly. You could run in a circle. If this wolf was chasing me in this circle, I could probably lose it in, 10, 15 seconds. Or you can have this beast sprays. I currently have 9 beast sprays because they really like to give out beast sprays in the daily quest now. You'll get them more than you'll get keys or lures, because their idea of fixing this so far has been to, ooh, look, I got a lure. I can go get that horse from the rangers now. Their idea of fixing this is to basically, they've made it so the wolves won't attack you on the paths, they won't attack you during the races, and, you know, they've changed the price of the bee spray, but also increased the price of the lures to make up for it. Look. My God. They have not, like, there is a thing on Reddit that says that, you know, that goes on about how if they do balance this, we're probably not going to see it, you know, they'll change the aggro. Well, right now, their aggro is not working in any sort of consistent manner. Like, I have been riding down the road, and next thing I know, there's a wolf running next to me, and going, where did I get you? Where did you come from? Because I'm on the road. You are not supposed to be anywhere near me. The still right to the poop thing is hysterical to me because wolves would love the poop. Okay? The thing is, just giving us a bee spray, which hurts the wolves, thanks a lot. You know, thank you for hurting my babies. I mean, come on. My fuzzy, cuddly baby wolfie boys! Yes, I am one of the type of people that would see a big cat and go, ooh, kitty! Sort of. The first thing I did was, when I saw that video was, that's her culvert now. You're not getting it back. That culvert belongs to Kitty. Oh, why, the dogs among the sheep today, by the way, on Friday. It's on the sheep on Friday. Okay. The animals do move. Nice to know. Don't care. So, they've given us this bee spray. That's it. And it takes one, it's not like you do, I always forget that this is Mary. It's not like you can get a bee spray for, you know, 30 minutes. No, it's kind of working like bear spray, which is awful for you and awful for the bears and awful for everything involved. Awful for the environment. So you have to have a lot of bee spray. I now have 10. And if you're trying to ride around and go through the woods and explore Fir Grove, like the event wants you to explore Fir Grove, alright? Well, that means you have to have a lot of this stuff, which means you're going to be spending a lot of time on the servers grinding gold. What they have not given us is any abilities to deal with the wolves. Zilch. Okay? There's a wolf that patrols this area, so I'm not going to go after that. Let's go back to Sly Cooper for a minute. So, in Sly Cooper, when I'm running around trying to evade all these enemies, sometimes I just can't. Okay, sometimes, especially if I'm Bentley, sometimes it is, there is, like, you really want to sneak around, but it's also Bentley, and he's so fragile. In comparison to the rest, he is so fragile that, it is much better for me as a player to be very, very cautious and just take out the enemies. Now, every single character in Sly Cooper comes with a range of skills. In fact, the whole point of the first game is that Sly is gathering all the pages of his family's book in order to learn thief skills. So Bentley and Murray come up with their own skills in the next 2 games in order to help, or next 3 games. Some people might not want to say thieves sometimes as part of the franchise. They come up with their own skills to help Sly and take on missions to be a more active part of the team. So, if you are Sly, you are carrying this super cool family cane. Okay, it's got a hook on it and everything. And if you tap your cane on the ground, your cane might do really cool things like become electrified. And then you can hit enemies and they just kind of poof and vanish. Or if you're super sneaky, you can sneak up behind enemies and you can latch your cane into them, toss them into the air, juggle them, and then hide them under your hat. I know I explained that in the last video. Now, if you're Bentley, the turtle, you carry a crossbow. Okay? And in your crossbow, you have sleeping darts. Bentley is just... So, if I was Bentley, and I was trying to get into this area, into the mine, where there are wolves, okay? On a technicality, despite the fact I'm on a horse, the wolves shouldn't be able to see me. There's a bush there, there's a fence there, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work like that, but for this game. But if this was Sly Cooper, the wolves wouldn't be able to see me. But because this is SSO, they would just jump through that fence and try to go after me anyway. So to get through this whole Silverglade mine area, Bentley would take out his crossbow, focus it on the wolves, and send them all to sleep. And then he would tiptoe over to the wolves, and he would drop some bombs on them and run away. Yes, you want to run away because you can be hurt by your own bombs. So the bombs would go off, and Bentley would then, then has a clear way to go through the area. Now, over here, we have a whole bunch of wolves, okay? In order to get through this area, you have to thread your way through the wolves. That one's going that way, that one's going that way. Oh, look, there's a sheep. We got one coming up here, so we don't, those two here. You gotta be careful. Make sure they're both facing away from you. Oh, see? See? I now have a wolfie friend. Alright, I'm on the road. Maybe he'll go away. So that is Bentley. Now, Murray, he is a hippopotamus. Hippopotamuses are scary for no other reason than they're hippopotamus. Murray, he just claps his hands together and they turn into fists of flame and he can go punch things. Believe me, if you are like really aggravated, just playing Murray. It can be so cathartic. Or he can run up to an enemy, stomp his foot, which will toss them into the air, and he catches them, and then you can throw them at other enemies. Sly Cooper is deliberately designed to be challenging because it gives you skills in order to deal with whatever obstacles they put in your way. Whether that's picking pockets, riding along... Oh, here's a horsey horse. We'll use this one then. Whether that's picking pockets, or dealing with the enemies, or getting through locks, or... or gliding around and trying to get to far off places. So you got your paraglider to glide around. It's deliberately designed. All we can do in Star Stable, why am I doing this again? I don't know, is try to thread our way through the patrols of wolves because they're so close together. They are not nearly this close together in Sly Cooper, by the way. They're so close together, we can only thread our way through them and then run our way and go through stinky poop or have a beast spray on us. Just because they're obstacles doesn't make them challenging. Because we don't have any visual clues or audio clues on our character or on our UI tell us that we're close to wolves. Oh my god, I mean, come on, we're riding a horse. We're a little too big to be missed here. And we don't have any skills. We can't calm the wolves. We don't have any tranquilizers to trank the wolves. Nothing. And this is also a lot of people's relaxation game. Okay? So players, they consider this like a calm, almost cozy, relaxing, casual game. So they come onto this game expecting to be able to ride around full tilts because, you know, horses are cars in this game. And they don't expect to deal with enemies. They don't want to deal with enemies. Enemies are way too frustrating. So having wolves everywhere is like such a sudden increase in obstacles on top of your bad hitboxes and poorly designed sightlines and so on and so forth. I mean, what are all these tree stumps? Dear God. I don't get the tree stumps. I really don't. That, you know, they're not used to, especially in Star Stable Online, trying to be sneaky. Okay? They're not used to the concept of having to look at the patterns of behavior of the wolves, their little path circuits here. They're not used to that. So they're not like, so to them, you know, they're just trying to ride around, play the game as they normally play the game. Oh, Jesus. See? I'm going to be hit here. Yep, there he goes. Goodbye, bee spray. And they might not have any bee spray. They might not know they need bee spray. They might not know, you know, that the wolves are even there because there's really no, once again, visual indication. And suddenly they're back at the manor. And they go out and ride again. And they're back at the manor. And, you know, or back at the ranch. It's one of those, it is not challenging for most people. It is frustrating because, you know, when you're riding close to the wolves, are they going to ignore you? Are you on the precise part of the path where they'll ignore you? Will they see you? Will they lunge at you from 6 to 8 feet away? That is a real problem, by the way. Oh, look, another horse. I know where 3 of them are now. And so there's to most players, when they're riding around, there's no rhyme or reason to what we call the aggro radius. Basically, when the wolf AI senses you and will try to get you. I can get through here too. You know, now I'm also sneaky, so the wolf is not going to want to pay attention. No, the wolf would love me, but so, you know, they're riding around, and there's just so many wolves, and the bee spray only protects them once, and then the wolves, by the time they get back to where they were, the wolves have respawned, so they had to go through all of it all over again. And I'm not even talking about the wolf den area, which is absolute nonsense, or the bear den. I mean, you can get through the bear den if you're very, very quiet, or you take it at a walk. Like, I mean, it's nothing like the bear den and Sly Cooper, where I had to change my big cane into 2 little canes, like little hooks, and ice climb on walls to get over the bears. But yes, because in Sly Cooper there are wolves and there are bears and stuff, and usually they end up being plot important too. You know, there's one wolf in the Black Baron level. I really like the Black Baron level that does his little patrol in one area, and you end up actually using it to help take out some of the guards. Oops! See? So now we gotta wait. Back up. Wait for it to go around to the circle. In its circle. On its little patrol path. Alright, now he's over there. So you should be able to get around him, because you'll be going behind him. See? It's not a matter of getting good, it's just sitting and waiting. But there's just so many of them that in some cases, if you're standing there and you're waiting for one, patrol to do that, the other one's gonna catch you. Just no fun. So if they really wanted this to be challenging, they would not have put quite so many wolves in here. And they would have made it so that we could understand how the aggro works. Are we close enough to a wolf to be sensed? And by giving us some sort of indication on our UI over here in the corner, or using some sort of sound if you're playing with sound. Are we, they would give us some type of power to help deal with them, whether it's putting them to sleep or calming them or whatever. But what this was basically, how do we quote unquote make this challenging, in, I don't know, interesting, piss off half our player base. I have no idea what they were thinking. And with the least amount of work, because putting those wolves in and putting the patrol paths in, and putting the aggro in comparison to what a lot of other things going on, it's not as much work as creating a some of them, have them, have something actually mildly realistic, or have us have some sort of skills to help deal with them, or writing a story to deal with them. Just plopping the wolves in and having them walk around in circles is not as difficult as they want you to believe. So if they really wanted to make this challenging instead of frustrating, there would not be as many wolves, for one. For two, we would have indications on the UI and in the sounds, and with our characters, like maybe our horse would just go at a walk and refuse to go any faster until we got away from wolves, or until we either had the wolf sense us in their aggro radius, or we managed to get out of the way. Maybe forces it to a trot or something, or there would be some sort of sound indication that we were getting close to the wolf, and they would give us some other way to deal with it that didn't cost money. Because let's be honest, this was 100% a way to get us to grind during the game, to log on and to grind for gold. That's all it was. Okay? It just, I mean, I don't know why people think that, the dev team knows how to do challenge, because Halloween last year was an absolute mess. And some of the races in the story plot from the last 1.5 years have been an absolute mess. Just because you have an obstacle doesn't mean your game is challenging. Okay? And a lot of people were frustrated, and a lot of people went and used the exploit. And I don't think I finished that thought. I really wanted to see those numbers, because that would tell me, how much of my player base just doesn't want to deal with this. How much the player base doesn't want to deal with the fact that there's wolves everywhere. They want to go on a trail ride through Fir Grove. They want to do the Fir Grove races. So they go and they do the exploit, and they just take care, they ignore the wolves, basically, because they don't want to deal with the frustrating aspect of being transported back to the ranch all the time. And to me, that would tell me how badly I bungled my challenge rating on the game, okay? Or something like that. Like, I kind of noticed when the exploit was gone down on my server, about half the people left. They don't want to deal with it. Like I said, putting all these wolves in and then saying the game is about exploring Fir Grove, or the event is about exploring Fir Grove, kind of takes away the point of exploring Fir Grove. I mean, I don't want to explore Fir Grove right now. I just don't. You know, I can wait until the wolves are gone. And then the bears are gone, you know, for the most part. Anyways, I hope this helped explain things that, you know, why this is frustrating versus challenging. So take care of yourselves, my lovelies. Stay safe, blessed, and I'll see you in the next video.